Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. I'm talking with Erin French from the Lost Kitchen in Freedom, Maine. Uh, so we were talking in the first segment, Erin, about uh, leaving and the different choices that were in your life, and then how you chose the life that you're living now. There's a lot of emotions when you leave somewhere. I've left a lot of places. That excitement, but also that there's a fear. When you return, how did that feel? When you returned home, what emotions were you going through, and how did you feel coming home? Did you settle right in, or did it take a little while to feel good about
No,
being home?
no settling in. I mean, when I had two major stumbles or complete face plants in my life where I came back home to freedom. And, both times I came home feeling deflated, defeated, more resentful for this little town. And, so that was an interesting relationship that I had to work through of really searching deep about my roots, my town, my upbringing, what home meant to me. And it was an important relationship to work through. If you can't love your home, how do you find home anywhere? Um, and getting older and figuring things out, I was able to change that relationship with this place and have more self discovery. And I think being here during those challenging times forced me to have that self discovery of why is this place my home and what do I love about it and what don't I care about? Um, how do I want to live my life and where do I want to live my life? And it was kind of all in front of me the whole time, but it was right here that I loved the simplicity of this
Mhm.
place. I loved how quiet it was. I loved that you could look up in the night sky and see every star in the entire sky of like the most incredible thing you've ever seen. And I would have friends who would come up here and be like, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen the stars." I was like, "I grew up with that." Like, all the things you took for granted.
Mhm.
And that's just an example of all the little things that you take for granted of the place you call home. And, get a little older, get a little wiser, and start to appreciate
Would you
the beauty that
change,
was right here.
uh, you know, would you change anything? Would you want to live in a big city, or are you happy right there with for all those reasons you just mentioned?
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love going to a city, but it's not for me to live. I mean, give me 3 to 4 days in a city, great,
Ready to
love it.
go?
There's something really energizing about it. I mean, I love that, but I love coming home to this quiet space. I love, just having space to be able to be yourself. And I really wouldn't change it. I'm so connected deeply to this place now that and I feel grateful and thankful that I was able to find peace and recognize what home meant to me. And it's like these little you feel it. You could feel
Hmm.
it like when something clicks and you're like, "Ooh, this is me. Like I want to be barefoot. I want a chicken coop.
Hmm.
I want to see the stars at night. I
Don't go
want,
barefoot in the chicken
yeah,
coop.
don't go, well, it's happened many times, but um, yeah,
Is
able to have that
time?
peace.
Yeah, it is. That's beautiful. I'm very happy for you that you have found that, and many people don't. They don't find their calling. They don't trust their instincts, and
Hmm.
we're talking about seasons right now, and the season that we're in, and time. I mean, you're a chef, and time, a restaurant owner, and time is so integral and right there in your face all the time. Is time for you? Is it a friend? Is it foe? How do you
Mm, that's a
manage
really
time?
good question. Well, I'm
You
not
like it?
great at time management. I'm Like I'm always just flying by the seat of my pants. But there is something to be said for seasons, and we do have 4 seasons in Maine, and it does sort of force you to have more time management because it's not one consistent season flowing along. You're like, all right, I have X amount of time because winter's coming, and I have X amount of time because it's summer and it's going to be over, and we have to jam this all in. But time management can definitely be a challenging thing, especially in the restaurant business.
Yes, yes. How about time in your kitchen? Is it, describe what the kitchen is to you for me, if you wouldn't mind. Like, what does it give you, and what does that time give you personally? Is that time spent in your kitchen?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's 2 different questions. At home kitchen or restaurant kitchen?
Whichever one you you want to answer.
um, you know, Restaurant kitchen, the time is really about, you know, it's a playground and there's time for creativity, but um, it definitely keeps me on my toes and it keeps me moving. It's a hard thing when you combine your passion also with work, and how do you manage that sort of time and that sort of relationship. And I've recently, isn't it great, like you can never have it all figured out until the day you die. You're still learning.
Right.
And even this year I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't have anything that I do that is not connected to work, because I took something that was a passion and that became my job, and that I hadn't figured out yet that I needed to have like some sort of passion that had nothing to do with cooking. I mean, even if I'm at home in my garden, I'm still harvesting those flowers to go on the tables that are somehow connected to work. It was like
Yeah.
hard, kind of weaving that of managing that sort of time, and connecting those pieces of saying like I need something that has nothing to do with work at all.
What
So
is that? Where do you go? Where do you
well, I
escape? And
yeah, I just started something, and I'm a little old and a little late to the game to be doing this, but I've just started horseback riding, which is so has nothing to do with cooking or restaurant at all. And it's that one moment
the
when
country girl that just
I
started
know,
horseback riding.
and I get on the back of that horse and I think about nothing except staying on.
It brings it all. It brings you alive. You're alive, right?
Yeah, and it
You're
makes me
alive
better
in
when I
those.
get back in the kitchen because I'm like, okay,
Do
get some
you
mind
is the
clearing.
kitchen part of your mental health in a way, or is it because of the reasons you just explained, that it was your passion is your work? So are you
Yeah.
able to look at it that way, or like if you're gone for a while from the kitchen, do you feel like I need that back? For my mental, to clear the cobwebs, or
Well,
to create.
it's a tricky relationship that I have with the kitchen because I have combined that passion with work. And so sometimes I have to fight that, because sometimes my I'm frustrated with my passion because it's an 18-hour day, and how do I get back into having these moments? Like I was recently reading one of Nigel Slater's cookbooks, and I love the way that he approaches it. And he said something along the lines of like, listen, like no offense basically to all you professional cooks out there, professional chefs working kitchens, but like no thanks, I don't want that. I don't want that in my life. I cook because I want to cook joyfully, and because I'm going to make this one nice thing. And like, I'm not going to be that person who's working on the line, having my adrenaline, pumping, and making food for that way. Like, so there are different ways of approaching cooking, and I guess the question being why, like why are you cooking? And so I'm working on my relationship with food, because I have pushed it all into this professional side, which can be very stressful. um, what I lost with that relationship was that I don't necessarily get all of the joy. Sometimes I'm cooking under pressure, but I'm not
Yeah.
cooking peacefully for joy. And so that's something I'm working on, in my relationship with food to get back to those moments. Like if you are sad or if you're in a bad mood, like make a pie. Go there and have that, because you have to focus in these ways and you have to use your hands in a different way than you are just like, making mashed potatoes angrily, or um I want to get back to that pie relationship of like,
You get angry with
going
those mashed
there.
potatoes.
Yeah, but like, but I've always had this theory of like, if you're in a bad mood, like don't step away from the stove, because you're going to
Yeah.
make food that people are going to taste that is not going to taste good, because you can't make good food if you're in a bad mood. But I also believe that like you can be in a bad mood and have food pull you out of it, but you have to have the right relationship and the mindset in that moment. And my
I like
relationship
that.
has gotten a little tricky.
Yeah, I like that. Well, go make a pie.
Slow down. Just
Slow
slow
down, make a pie.
down.
That was
Yeah.
actually, I had
A
those
loaf of
questions when
bread, you know?
yeah. Well, I had those questions for you. You brought it up, but I was curious about thinking about you. Is there something you go to when you're sad that you cook? And is there something on the opposite side when you're happy that you like to cook?
Hmm.
But I think you answered the sad, go make a pie.
Yeah. Make a pie, make a loaf of bread. I think even making like a chicken soup from
Yeah.
scratch is a nice sad one to make. Because yeah. I mean, if I'm happy, I love putting together just sort of like, we call them like nibble boards here at the restaurant, that you can start just layering all sorts of things for people to snack on, um, especially if it's like the summer season and I can run out to the garden in that moment and pick some fresh, nasturtiums or something to throw on the plate. Like that brings me so much joy. Adding that little bit to the plate just shows people how much you care. So that's my happy food is like share food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. The shared plate. You're so good with words. I think that's one of for me watching The Lost Kitchen and getting lost. It's your way with words, your speeches at the tables, that authenticity. It feels like it flows from you very easily. Maybe it does not. I'm not sure, but it feels authentic, and that's a connection that a, a two-dimensional connection, right, through a television. But to be at the Lost Kitchen, as you said, those memories, you're creating these memories, and you're also imprinting, I think, on people with your word choices, and you're really good at that. I just want to give you a compliment. From the nibble board, I mean, and on, it's really this great branding almost. It's this great these great phrases and great ways to describe what you do and what you love. So I love that. All right, we're going to
Thanks.
take another really quick break. I'm with Erin French from the or excuse me, not the French Laundry, but I bet she's been there. The Lost Kitchen, going down the French road. Find thelostkitchen.com and sign up and subscribe to Erin's newsletters to stay connected with them at findthelostkitchen.com. It's holiday shopping season, and the holiday market is open November 29th through December 28th. Fridays and Saturdays only if you're in Freedom, Maine at 11 to 4. Stop by and say hi. Um, Also, check out, if you have not already, Getting Lost with Erin French. Sometimes you have to get a little lost to find the things you're searching for. Watch Getting Lost with Erin French streaming on Max and Discovery Plus. You can stream all 3 seasons of The Lost Kitchen on Max. Again, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, and Discovery Plus. And then again, go shop at The Lost Kitchen. Go online. It's a great store. Find thelostkitchen.com. We'll be right back. Erin French.